Have you ever felt like, why can't I manifest what I want even when I'm doing everything right? This is why. It's not that you're unlucky or blocked or broken. You're not broken, you're just burdened. But playing with abundance with the wrong rules that are designed to keep you surviving, not thriving, and that are pushed by schools and society is the specific problem. The reality is that myself, an earlier version, and most people are taught to chase abundance through hustle, forcing it, and positive thinking. This is why Gary Vaynerchuk got put on the map, right? Hustle, hustle, hustle. I think it was even one of the titles of his books. But here's what happens when you try to get abundance through the mind and hustle and forcing it. You burn out. Manifestation doesn't just start with action. It starts at the root, which is what we talk about in the Life Method over at liberatedlife.com, and that is belief and identity. If your inner system believes that abundance is unsafe, there's like no vision board or no manifestation meditation that can override that. The solution for all of this is what I like to call the abundance loop, or the BTFA. It's on the screen right now. Belief, thought, feeling, and action. This is the hidden framework behind every single manifestation, and once you rewire it, opportunities and money and aligned relationships start to show up so fast, it almost feels illegal. In this video, I'm going to show you this BTFA framework and also 3 other very specific tools that'll allow you to unlock manifestation, not just from a woo-woo sense, but from your heart, from your soul, and from a practical, grounded reality that's going to give you the exact steps to flip your loop from scarcity to abundance in 7 days. Watch closely and then share your first win over in the tribe at liberatedlife.com. So I've had on Nir Ayal, and he's a behavioral scientist and researcher. And I've also studied the work of BJ Fogg and James Clear and Charles Duhigg. Here's the big piece that they all tell us. The body and the mind are one, yet many times the mind tries to inform the body what it's feeling instead of the other way around. If you don't believe on an unconscious level, deep in your framework of your unconscious mind, that you are worthy, that you are loved, you could pound your fist and look at the mirror every single day and tell yourself that you're worthy. But if your body doesn't believe it, if your unconscious mind doesn't believe it, then everything you try to manifest will be in self-sabotage. Look, everything that you manifest begins with what you believe you deserve. Most of your money and abundance beliefs were installed way before you were 8 years old, long before you even earned $1. If your core belief is money is dangerous or rich people are bad, then every single dollar that you ever tried to attract will unconsciously slip away. Here's what I'd like you to do. Do a belief audit right now. Pause this. If you're driving, pull over. This is really important. If you've been struggling with finance and with manifestation of the things that you know you deserve, write these 3 things down. Number 1, what would someone have to believe for this to keep happening? Number 2, do I feel truly worthy in my gut, in my heart, and in my throat of the money that I desire? And the last one is, what is a story that somebody told me that is potentially sabotaging my holding and my embodiment of this financial abundance? The somatic cue that you're looking for is notice where the belief shows up in your body when you start thinking about money. Say, this belief once kept me safe, but I am now safe to receive it. Your abundance starts where old beliefs end. If you name 1 belief, 2 beliefs, 3 beliefs that you're releasing today, this is where all change happens. It's so easy to read books and to download podcasts, but if you don't have a somatic understanding in your gut, in your heart, in your throat of what happens in your physical body, remember that the science of the somatic neural tree has twice the receptors going to the brain than from the brain. Now, why did God design the body like this? Our Creator knew that the body informs the mind, not the mind informing the body. It's actually a 180 flip of how most people are taught to think. So the bottom line, your beliefs shape your reality, but your mind is the holder of these beliefs. Remember, the mind has a conscious and unconscious, and in the middle of that is a critical factor. That critical factor is your space to explore for true manifestation to actually take hold. Now let's go into the T. We talked about the B. Nothing works if you don't address the B. So I'm not going to bullshit you here. If you go to the TFA and you just focus on thoughts, feelings, and actions, then you're going to buy 100 books, but you're never actually going to get to the root. So make sure you spend time on the B. Let's get into the T. Our thought is the mental frequency that shapes our reality. Every abundance block begins as a thought you forgot to challenge. Just feel that. Every single abundance block starts with a thought that you just forgot to question. right? Question your thoughts and then question the person who's even questioning those thoughts. That's the real you anyways. You don't just attract or repel things randomly. Your thoughts literally broadcast the frequency that reality mirrors back to you. And quantum science knows this to be true. If you look at the really amazing documentary where they measured the particle and the wave, it was called What the Bleep Do We Know? And what the scientists noticed is that when they were measuring the particles in the wave, the observer effect would kick in. The particle and wave relationship would change when it was viewed. So what does this tell you about the conscious and unconscious mind? Really, what's going on here is most people repeat scarcity thoughts like, it's too hard, I'll never have enough, rich people have it and I don't. These become self-fulfilling prophecies that shape the feelings and a lack of actions and avoidance that we take hold as an identity. The solution here isn't about just thinking different. It's not about just positive thinking. It's about identity transformation. This is why the abundance loop or the BTFA loop is so powerful. I'm not here to BS you. It is the most powerful tool I've ever learned. Once I understand my beliefs and I'm taking an honest inventory of those beliefs, then I can start to question my thoughts stacked against those beliefs. So I want you to do this thought awareness practice. Pause when you feel financial stress. Ask yourself, put your hand on your belly, hand on your heart. What thought just passed through me? What is the thought that I just allowed myself to think? And is this thought rooted in fear or possibility? The reframe is, I can't afford it, to how can I create this? The language that we use for our internal dialogue shows up in our life. You know, I always say, like, when you understand the way that you think and when you understand your beliefs, you can transform your reality. You can literally become the player and the programmer at the same time. So the reframe tool for your thought is, number one, what thought just passed through? What was the leaf that just blew by? Can I identify that thought as being a rational fear or an irrational fear? Switch, I can't afford it, or money is hard to get, to what is the person that I get to become in order to create this? Now, at first audible, if you're new to this work, that might seem very confronting, very challenging, because immediately your unconscious mind is going to go into comparison trap. It's going to say, well, John Smith and Jane, they're the ones that came from money, or they had it easier than me. And you can see this is just going down the black hole of thought. I can't afford it. Rich people are bad. Can you flip that to, what is the person I get to become to create this? What skills do I get to develop? What relationships do I get to develop? The takeaway here is that your thoughts are not random. They're commands. They're literally commands. Track one recurring scarcity thought this week. Share how you reframed it in the community. Let's get into the feeling. This is one of my most favorite, yet paradoxically challenging modes of humanity. Manifestation doesn't come from just thinking clearer or thinking harder. So in the BTFA loop, the beliefs are our unconscious software. The thoughts are the things that we get to watch, and the feelings are the emotions or the energy and motion that we get to feel. You know, if you've been going into the podcast episodes for quite some time, or if you're brand new, I'm going to share this with you. All emotions last 90 seconds. Dr. Jill Taylor, who studied the neuroscience of emotion, found this work because unfortunately her brother was a schizophrenic. And she found that when she actually measured emotion or energy in motion, it was a feeling that was experienced for 90 seconds. Well, then it begets the question, what is the thing that keeps these feelings stuck? It's our beliefs. Manifestation does not come from just thinking harder or positive thinking. It comes from feeling your feelings in alignment with the B and the T. Feelings are the vibration that either magnetizes or repels what you want. If you suppress or repress feelings, unconscious or conscious, then you suppress or repress your abundance. Look, most people were never taught how to feel safety. They were never taught how to safely feel fear either, or shame or grief for that matter when it comes to money. Instead, most of us bury our feelings about money. We don't look at our bank account. We don't look at our profit and loss sheet. We're literally scared of checking our phone or checking the computer because we know what the number is going to be there. But I say this, have the courage to look at the honesty of your finances and of your manifestation and be honest about where you are. This is the one thing. If you just get this one thing from this podcast, the flip for me in 2019 and 2020, during the whole pandemic lockdown craziness, everyone was in fear. I took it upon myself to say, all right, what would love do now? Crisis is both danger and opportunity. It's on the screen right now. There's a Chinese symbol in the middle. And I got this wisdom from a documentary called Finding Joe. Anytime there is a crisis, there is danger and there is opportunity. if most people were never taught how to feel safe in uncertainty or train themselves through cold plunge and exercise and different ways of NLP, then they're going to be really scared of these feelings because these feelings feel like death. But the paradox here is that the more we actually go into these feelings and feel our grief and feel our shame and feel our stuff, the faster we're going to manifest. It seems counterintuitive, just like all change. All change is counterintuitive, and it takes 90 seconds. Let 90 seconds flow through your body. If you're going to cry, cry for 90 seconds. If you're going to feel shame about your bank account, allow yourself to feel shame about your bank account. It's okay. We all go through this. Just for 90 seconds, let one money-related matter emotion rise up in you, fear, guilt, even excitement. Then breathe and feel it for 90 seconds without judgment. Now, here's where the somatic inquiry comes into effect. Where does this feeling or energy in motion live in my body? What texture, what shape, what color does it have? Stay with it. Close your eyes until it softens or shifts and not disappears. Look, feeling is the missing bridge between thought and reality, between the B and the T. And when it comes to money, we have a lot of deconditioning to do. Feeling is this missing bridge. You are the bridge. You're not going to get it from listening to even this podcast. You're going to get it from doing the practice. All right, let's go into the A for action. This is the one that personal development loves to do. Action, action, action. I've even heard phrases, I believe, from Tony Robbins where he said, fire and then aim. I disagree with that. I think that action is the final proof to the universe of what you actually believe you're worthy of with your beliefs, your thoughts, and your ability to access and process emotion, energy in motion. So every time you avoid asking, overwork, or settle for less, you're not failing. You're just acting out an old scarcity agreement. Most people try to fix abundance with hustle or hard work. But unless the belief, the thought, and the feelings are accessed and observed and processed, literally you're just going to have the same actions all the time. It's going to be like the ring of Saturn or a carousel. It's just going to keep going around and around and around. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I genuinely care about you. If you're here with me on this podcast, you know my story. And if you don't, I'll link a resource right here. I was $80,000 in debt. I put my mom in a mental home. I was overweight. I was having health issues, and I broke up with a woman I thought I was going to be with. It was a huge smack to the face. But I think sometimes in life, we really need this. The pattern interrupt that's going to be really present for you, for all of us, is when we're at our lowest. It's when our back is pushed against the wall and we have no other option but to look at ourselves and to grow ourselves. What we really all deserve is a pattern interrupt. But I don't believe this pattern interrupt has to come from ultimate pain. You don't have to get a pattern interrupt from being at rock bottom. You don't. You can choose one abundance action that you've been avoiding. Making the ask, raising your prices, starting the project. Take one micro step and then anchor it. Anchor it to something that you already do daily, like right after journaling or breath work or cold therapy. And this is the big one. Write in a journal and ask yourself, what is one action that I'm ready to release? And what's one action that aligns with abundance? Write that down. It's so powerful. Are you actually doing it? Because the takeaway here is that abundance is not about always doing more. It's about doing and being with alignment. So if you pick one micro action this week, you can post it in the tribe over at liberatedlife.com. It's a free community, and let us hold you to it. The abundance loop is not just about rewiring your brain fast. We know that manifestation can take a second or a decade. It just depends on how aligned you are. This abundance loop is running in the background whether you know it or not. So the only question is it looping scarcity or is it looping abundance? In medicine, they chase symptomology. And in personal development, a lot of times we just chase our symptomology of our money, our relationships, our status, without shifting the loop at its source, at its root. And this is why results don't happen. And this is why the thing that you want is almost like water flowing through your fingers. So here's what I'd like you to do. On a piece of paper, for 7 days, I want you to write belief, thought, feeling, action. And I want you to identify what are the beliefs that were taught to you by maybe the people you love that it's time to let go of. What beliefs are causing the thoughts that give you an emotion, energy in motion, that your guidepost of feeling allows you to process? And then what is the action or the fruit of your life? Pair each phrase with breath or stillness or movement to keep your body safe, to keep your body in processing. as you shift. Just one loop shift, and watch how fast abundance flows in. Start today. Post your loop inside of the tribe right now. It's liberatedlife.com. It's always going to be a free space. A lot of this feels heady, but it's not, because your beliefs live in your unconscious, and your body is your unconscious mind. Once you start identifying the true belief and where you learned it from, you can be free. You don't have to be held hostage by these beliefs anymore. And then you can do the work to monitor your thoughts, to process your feelings, and to have different outcomes and fruits and actions in your life. This is not pseudoscience. This is real neurology paired with spiritual wisdom. And this is my goal with this podcast, with the Liberated Life Tribe, with the Life Method program, to be able to go from outwardly successful but having an internal war to finally feeling like you have a sustainable fuel source that can carry you today, this month, this year, and into the rest of your life. A lot of the books that we read out there, they're really good on the A, and sometimes they address the T, but what's missing is the B and the F. I promise you, it's on the screen one last time if you're watching on YouTube and Spotify. The BTFA Loop. This is inspired by many of the men and women that I've interviewed. I've created this BTFA Loop from my own life journey. I was in a place where many people find themselves, and that is, I've learned self-helplessness. It's not your fault. You're not broken. You're just burdened. Everybody has problems. We all have problems. But if you can see those problems as opportunities for growth, you are literally going to rewire yourself from the inside out. And this is why I love this work so much. It's not necessarily that we have the beliefs or that we have the thoughts. It's, can we become the observer and the surgeon of these beliefs and thoughts that dictate our feelings and our actions, that dictate the quality of our life. Share this podcast if you believe this is worthy of sharing. I do. It's shifted my life. In the past 10 years, I have complete different results than when I started this podcast. So let me be a case study. Let the case studies at liberatedlife.com be your case studies. And let the community hold you, because you were not designed to do this BTFA alone. And I will tell you that if you try to practice this alone, your ego and your beliefs get really sneaky. And they may try to self-sabotage you unless you hold up your BTFA abundance loop to a community that can actually show you and mirror back where you potentially are stuck. All right. Until I see you again, I'm wishing you love, wellness, but most importantly, peace and power. You cannot do any of this. You cannot be any of this. You cannot have power unless it comes from peace. We'll talk with you soon.